Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th Monitor Community Call. Today we have with us Leonidas Pispiringas, Service Manager of Monitor in charge of institutions and aggregation, who will share what we're currently working on to expand the Monitor's dataset focused indicators, capturing how data is cited, linked, and described across the research lifecycle. These developments aim to provide a fuller picture of data visibility, integration, and responsible reuse. A few housekeeping notes before we begin. As you know, during the presentation, please keep your microphones muted to avoid any background noise. And for the Q&A session, feel free to unmute and turn on your camera if you wish to participate. You are also welcome to submit your questions here in the chat or in our shared Google Doc, which will be posted again here so you can access it. Please note that this session is being recorded and transcribed, and if you wish to participate in the Q&A but prefer not to be included in the recording, let us know in the chat and we'll ensure your contribution is edited out. And with that, I'll hand it over to Leonidas to start his presentation. Leonidas, the floor is yours. Leonidas, you are muted.
Yes, thank you very much, Marily, for the introduction. Let me share my screen. Okay, so hello everyone to the Open and Monitor community call. Our subject today is for some regarding some new metrics and indicators that we have been designing and will be incorporated into the Open Air Monitor the following by the end of June. And these are dataset indicators for the dataset at the dataset level, and also data citation and enrichment of the fairness indicators that we already have in the Open Air Monitor. So, dataset indicators in open science. As we all know, open science moves beyond publications. Therefore, datasets and software are key research outputs, and dataset indicators and metrics about these research outputs play a very important role in the open science monitoring and assessment. Dataset level indicators enable visibility of contributions from creators, contributors, and authors that are often hidden in the traditional scholarly metrics. And of course, they enhance transparency, reproducibility, and accountability across the research life cycle. What is the contribution of the dataset indicators and metrics to scholarly communication? They elevate datasets as first-class research outputs, because this way, datasets and software are recognized alongside publications in research assessment and discovery. They provide a more comprehensive picture of the research activity and impact, because with the dataset and the metrics about the datasets, you get a better image, vision about the research activity of a specific publication. And they promote transparency and reproducibility by tracing how datasets are used, how they are cited, and how they are linked with other research outputs and with the publications, more importantly, within the research lifecycle. They enable credit and attribution for the data creators and curators through measurable reuse and citation metrics, because they enter the citation landscape. They enhance discoverability of datasets by linking them to related outputs, articles, software, or projects, facilitating interdisciplinary exploration. And they support responsible research assessment, focusing on openness, reuse, and extending fair data practices over purely quantitative publication metrics. Linked science indicators. The linked science indicators are indicators that capture relationships among the research outputs. Publications related with datasets, publications related with software, publications related with projects. They are core subject to contextualizing research and recognizing interlinked contributions, and they highlight multidimensional knowledge production and not just the citations. Because this way we capture not only the cited research output, but also the related, the type of the relation of the research output of the dataset with the publication. Linked science indicators, how we identify links among research outputs in OpenAI graph. First of all, we get these links from Scholar Explorer service, from Scholar Explorer API, which is a service that accepts scholarly works metadata information about relationships between publications to data or data to data, from validated sources, of course. The links among the research outputs are also expressed via explicit metadata fields, relation types, specific relation types, from the related identifier field in the OpenAI guidelines. And of course, we have the text and data mining algorithm. Through these algorithms, we enrich the OpenAI graph with inference links of publications to other datasets and software. And something that will be introduced in the next months, we will also get relationship from data availability statements from the full text of the publications. We have already participated in a pilot with many institutions, with some institutions from UK that has been organized by UKRN, where we utilized the data availability statement in a very broad aspect of issues from fairness, openness, to through credit taxonomy, and also the existence and the way we mine the data availability statements. We will be back in the next community calls with more details about this activity. So, as I have already said, the linked science indicators and how we identify them in the graph, we have specific link types. Some examples are the similarity, supplement, part, review, citation, relationship, and version. And as you can see, all these types go beyond the model of citation only. We have generic relationships, versioning relationships with datasets that are multiple versions, supplements, and other links. Data citations in scholarly communications. The data citations, like publication citations, play an essential role in scholarly communication. Through the data citations, creators and contributors are acknowledged and get the proper credit in a manner akin to citing scholarly publication. They foster transparency, reproducibility, collaboration in research, and the recognition of the data creators, because they give due credit to the contributors, and also they enable others to access and build upon the same data that the publication that they refer and they work with has initially worked. They also contribute to the fairness, as citing the data makes it easier to find, access it, use and reuse it. And of course, researchers should cite and share data effectively in order to foster the open science principles. Data citations, we have the direct data citations and indirect data citations. The direct citations as data citations are the ones where the dataset is explicitly cited in a publication in the references list using a position identifier. And the indirect citations are the ones that mention the dataset in the full text, serving as a proxy for indirect impact. Someone will argue that both of these types should not be discretized to direct and indirect. The major difference is that direct citations are usually more easily findable and available because when they are in the list of the reference of the publication, they are also in the metadata that accompany the publication. And while the indirect citations need further work, of course, we already do it with the mining algorithms in order to identify the relation. So, regarding the enrichment and in general the fairness indicators. First of all, in OpenAir, the data sources that we aggregate metadata records comply with the OpenAir guidelines that are fair by design, at least the latest versions. It's very important to have complete structure and population of the metadata in repository records in order to foster the fairness alongside the interoperability. And on a granular analysis and additional indicators that we are going to add to the dashboards, apart from the existing fair indicators where we have datasets with or without license, with or without an ORCID ID, funding datasets that are related to publications with funding references. We are also going to have datasets that are described with rich metadata, with title, publisher, date, description, and subject, so that you can see in the monitor dashboard how the metadata foster how the metadata uptake into your organization, where the metadata clearly and explicitly include the identifier of the data. This is an important fair metric, where you could easily see whether we have or we don't have the identifier of the data, the files that accompany the metadata. Well, we will also utilize indicators on the usage of vocabularies that follow fair principles, such as the core control vocabulary, and the metadata that are associated with detailed provenance by having populated the creator, contributor, date, and version fields. And all of these will be enriched in the next months with additional findings from the data availability statements mining algorithm. So the dataset indicators, the breakdowns, apart from the trends on the dataset indicators that we currently and fairness indicators that we currently provide, we are also going to utilize breakdowns via data source, via repository, platform, publisher, and by research performing and research funding organizations. And also, we are going to have a breakdown by fields of science for the linked publications, for the publications that are linked to the specific datasets. And of course, we are also going to have numbers of the links, number of the datasets that are linked with the publications, and relatively and benchmarking in relation to the total publication production. So, dataset level indicators provide evidence-based insights into dataset openness, fairness, reuse, and interlinking. Linked science supports institutions, funders, and research initiatives in understanding further the data practices. They assist in shaping responsible open science policies and infrastructure development. And in generally, they will give an added value service with these additional indicators on all the organizations in the monitor in order to have a better visibility and a better view on the uptake of the organization in open science. And all of these can be clearly shown in the roadmap that we have in our website. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leonidas. Are there any questions? Please feel free either to write it here in the chat or unmute your microphone and express any thoughts, questions, comments. Yes, please, Nicola.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation. There was one thing I'm not sure that I understood correctly. It was about the dataset indicator breakdown. I was not sure how it is different than a dataset indicator. Like why you needed to emphasize that it was like a dataset indicator breakdown.
Breakdowns are about when we visualize the aggregated metrics via year, by field of science. For example, we will have the number of datasets that are linked with publication for a specific organization. This indicator, apart from the total number, will also be broken down by years. In order to, this way you will be able to see the datasets that are linked with the publications per year when they are produced.
Okay, so it allows to make subsets.
Data source where, yes,
Okay.
on the data source it will be the repository or the aggregator that the dataset is available from per RFO, per RPO, research per institution, for example, in a funder dashboard, the funder will be able to see all these linked datasets per organization.
Okay, thank you.
Breakdowns in general. Thank you.
Yes, please, Esteban.
Yeah, thank you, Leonidas, for this presentation. So I have a question. If I understood correctly, you link the publication on dataset by two approaches. Manually, if the user or the user of the platform relate both resources, or automatically also. Is that correct?
The manual part, well, I wouldn't say manual part because we don't give the users the option to link the publication with dataset.
Yeah, but I think for example, in Zenodo, you can link the publication with the dataset or software or any
You
other
mean
source, right?
this manual way? Yes. When
Yeah,
this
manual way.
manually, yes. This is shown in the OpenAir graph and of course in OpenAir monitor. These are
And
the manual process, and the automatic process is from the repositories that the data sources that we aggregate information, where they state the relation in the metadata, and then we move on to the mining algorithms, and where we infer links according to the findings that we have from the PDFs.
so, but for example, you compare the metadata of both resources, it means the publication and dataset, and you establish this relationship, or how the process works? I'm just curious. Sorry.
Well, let me showcase because I don't know all the details. Let me say an example. If we have the same title and the same number of authors, the publication and the dataset, and the same number authors and the same number of authors, then these are two are linked together.
Okay. Yeah. Super. Thank you. Very interesting.
Yes, Julia, please.
Sorry, the microphone. To complete also the answer for Esteban regarding how we are doing in general in OpenAIRE the link functionality. So there is a possibility that the researchers can go to OpenAIRE Explore, and there is this link functionality, so they can manually let's say, okay, when I produce these data sets, even if I didn't mention in my publication, it was linked with this publication. So sometimes we are assuming the link based, for example, on supplementary material in a publication. So this is an assumption that we do in general, or we can do via this direct link. We need to promote more this functionality in the various portal, because we have the OpenAIRE Explorer, but also now that we work with the community in OpenAIRE Connect, so they basically select their own space, and they can do the link based also in the community. And this functionality is something that we need to promote. On the other side, we have a Scholar Explorer that was presented in the Leonidas presentation. It was mentioned around that is able to make this assumption. We have also a Scholar Explorer API that can be linked with the repositories. And for this kind of activities, you can see the documentation in the OpenAIRE graph.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I think we can wrap up. Thank you, Leonidas, for your presentation, and thank you all for your participation. Our next community call will be in 2 months. So until then, please feel free to contact the help desk and have a nice day.
I would have a last question about the
course.
slides, if we could have access to them, or
Yes, of course. We always share the slides and the link to the recording to all registrants of our webinars, so
Okay.
you will receive it.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.